Well, and we are live now. Here we go
Good.
with Yuka Marosek and Tim Sullivan and me. Good
Morning.
morning to everybody
Good morning.
watching us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, listening to us in Clubhouse. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Today we have a special guest. You know her from our previous podcasts. She has been very helpful so far. But today we have Yuka as our guest speaker, and she's going to talk about a shop here in Japan. Actually, it is a chain which is called Treasure Factory. It is a shop that very few Japanese people know about, but Yuka has been talking about it for maybe a week or two behind the curtains with Tim and me. So today,
Yeah.
yes, we're going to hear what Yuka has to tell us about Treasure Factory. And in case you didn't know, Yuka is an analyst. She's a financial analyst and she helps Japan, global investors of all sizes unlock the hidden gems in Japan. So you'll find a link to her LinkedIn profile in Clubhouse. So if you're curious about that, please go there and check it out. Or you can go straight to LinkedIn and check her out as well. Yuka, without any further ado, I'm very impatient to hear what you can tell us about Treasure Factory.
Thank you. Thank you, Maya and Tim. And hi, everyone. So, Treasure Factory, actually, I didn't realize how less known this company is. I wrote about this company actually last January. So, so I sort of post some articles on my website, and that's actually free to view. It's just like informational piece, and then I cannot just overemphasize, this is not stock recommendation. This is for the introduction and the information purpose only. But I think it's a very interesting industry, because Treasure Factory is in the industry called reuse and discount retailers. The most famous player in this universe is Don Quixote, and I think you have seen it. Don
Yes.
Quixote is global too, and Don Quixote is owned by the parent holding company, Pan Pacific International. The Don Quixote and this Pan Pacific is actually like a 10 times bigger than the Treasure Factory. And then also you may seen the company or store, the book off. They're more focused on the used books. And then or Gale, I think you pronounce Gale. They started out used games. Um, if anybody in a state, it's very similar to GameStop. But then these days, Gale has to sort of change their business model, because nobody these days. Oh, and I shouldn't say nobody, but less people buy the gaming hardware console, because you can play on a Switch, or maybe you can download, and a lot of people play games on your iPhone. So Gale has stopped, the changing. Of course, they're still selling the used games, but they're now incorporating much more bigger product offering, and they even they offer some apparel. Now, why you think this reuse and discount industry is upcoming these days is, maybe you can see, I wonder people can see this, but I written the I call this investment thesis, but don't pay attention to this word investment. They just nice lingo that I use. It's, again, this is not for your investment, okay? This is just informational purpose. So
Yes.
why people
Disclaimer noted.
why people are going to discount stores? One, things are getting more expensive. When I was in Japan in last summer, I mean, the one, like a bunch of, is it called bunch, like a one bunch of grapes are like 1,000 yen. And I'm like, oh my god, things are going,
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
pricier. And now it's a post-COVID or post-corona the economy has opened up to the foreigners, and you can see it, right? Foreigners flocking to the Japan, and then because of the weaker yen, those high-end items are cheaper for them, and especially when they visit, like lots of foreigners are now visiting Don Quixote to buying. Oh shoot, buying. Sorry. Don't you hate Dell computer? They keep losing power all the time. But anyway, okay, enough sidetrack. Okay, and then yeah. So a lot of the foreigners, visiting the stores and then the buying, the Japanese high quality goods, because to them it's much cheaper because of the weaker yen. And when you think about it, if the things are cheaper, their high end used items are more affordable to them. So those are I didn't come up with this idea. A lot of people start talking about maybe this reuse, the retailers are maybe interesting, like the space, local space, interesting industry to take a look at. Then also another sort of aspect is, a lot of people saying like, to save the earth, to save the environment, and to reuse. And then so like what did you say that Tim? You said somebody's trash is another person's.
Yeah, was it one person's trash is another person's treasure? That's where I think maybe they got the name. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Yeah.
Right. And then the treasure factory is their company's mission is very interesting. They say, I'm just gonna read this out. They are a factory for finding new value in used goods. With a rich lineup of rare one-of-a-kind product, the company provides customers with the joy of buying, selling, and discovering unique product in one stop. So what they do is, because if you want to sell something, you can visit the treasure factory. And then if you want to buy something, of course you can visit them. And then, sometimes sometimes even the Costco, you go there and then find something that you don't see anywhere else, like a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
So this company not only creating the treasures for you, they're helping your treasure hunt the spirit. And then the reason this book the report title is 10 ways to create your treasures, because they have 10 concept. Retail company we call concept is a brand in a brand. So the Uniqlo has Uniqlo, and then GU, it's a two separate concept. The another company, they have several concepts are Gap has Gap, and Old Navy, and also the Banana Republic. Those are the separate concept. So this is a 10 business the concept that they have. The big one is, if I circle, can you see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
You see
Yeah.
they shorten that treasure factory. This is the main concept, treasure factory, and they have this Kindle. This is actually the youth golf club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see golf kids, and it seems like they're getting big at this. And then I can't remember. Those are used clothing, and they have too many. This is a sports good, and they also do this furniture.
All right.
Yeah,
So
and
this treasure factory's business model we're
yes,
talking about.
yeah.
Mm.
So they offer the different type of products, in the separate the concept, different storefronts, and some of them are like online only, the e-commerce. Also, they also do the auctioning. Something they cannot sell at those physical stores, they auction it. So that's why I said they have 10 ways to come up with the factories. Gosh,
Can I quickly just kind of make a statement, or just kind of a question, I guess?
yes.
It sounds to me, I know this, maybe I'm oversimplifying, but the basics of the model seem very similar to buying a used car. You can go to the dealer, you can sell your car, and I'm saying in a very simplified format, right?
Yes.
And you can also buy a car from them.
You can sell it to them, yes.
Yeah, and I never used cars until Japanese quality hit the market, and I knew that I could buy a used Japanese car that would last me a really long time for a lot less. So it seems like quality might have some one factor that comes into the appeal of it, and like you said, saving the earth and stuff like that. Go ahead.
No, actually, that's a very good point that I failed to mention. Thank you, Tim. Yes, you're right. Because, the Japanese sort of, the products, they carry the image of high quality. So, and then, those foreigners come and visit, Japan and go to those stores. They are, comfortable even buying the used items, knowing probably these, used things are, in high quality. And also they have some people made an interesting point, because some we're sort of like this is a kind of, we talked about this in many times in other rooms. Wage increase has been kind of slow, so a lot of people are, maybe they bought these high-end items, and the Japanese tend to sort of use the products they maintain the quality very well. If they call term, they use it lightly used, not abused. So that's why they tend. And then the business model for them, for this treasure factory, the beauty of them is they know how to appraise the, let's say, Gucci bags, because that's what they distinguish themselves. Because they say, I don't know how to value those Gucci bags, Louis Vuitton shoes. So like if I like, they say Tim comes to me and then you want to sell like a Gucci bag, right? And then I have no idea.
Never happened, but go ahead.
You could have spent like, I don't know, 50,000 and maybe more yen for that, and I may offer you like maybe I can buy you like 1,000 yen, and you would say just take a hike, right? So those appraiser, they have gained, they've been trained that they know how to price when they're buying, and they how to price when they're selling, because they need to make the margin to stay in business. But at the same time, that those goods has to be sold. But then if they're paying too low of a price to to the seller when they come, nobody will come. So those are those correct balance that they were sort of taking. That's what this company allowed them stay in business and prosper. Now, going back to this, statistics of how quickly or how steadily this reuse, the industries, reuse is, I think, is a nice term. They, like some people call it pre-owned, or some people called like used. Anyway, so when you look at this like number, can you see the screen?
Yes.
So the 2009, the industry-wide sales was 1.13 trillion yen, which sounded very big. But then 2022, it's more than double to 2.89 trillion yen. And in 2025, it's going to get to the 3.25. And I didn't come up with this, number. It's source is at the left corner, second-hand business data book. Isn't that amazing? If you look for data, you can find it. And, somebody out there is creating a data for you. And then I calculated the growth. So from, the industry is growing maybe 4 to 5% per year. And that's amazing when this size, when this big industry is growing 4 to 5% a year. It's, to me, it's a very good growth. So this is a sort of like, again, using a term, lingo, investment thesis for this company. If I'm ever going to buy, and if I'm going to recommend you to buy, and don't do that, okay? Don't do that, okay? Don't buy.
We don't recommend you buy. We forbid you from buying it.
Yes.
I'm using Yuka's words because she said that to Maya.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so so there's a two sort of strong like a driver for this stock is
Uh-huh.
industry is growing. You have to
Right.
see, you have to be a player in the growing industry.
Right.
Well,
Right.
yeah, sometimes it's not, company can do very well in the shrinking industry if you are the only survivor, but it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to bet on those companies. One industry, the people call the blue ocean. I think you don't want to be competing in the red ocean. And
Right.
now and then, are are
Okay.
sorry for non-Japanese speakers. Are meaning I said oops. Anyway,
Yes.
so then second, um, the driver of the growth is this 10 different concept they can play. Like sometimes people may want to play, they say you want to sell something, but I don't want to be anonymous. Then you can do it online. So and then so this company offers some value to anybody and everybody. I think that's another beautiful thing.
Yes.
Uh,
So it's very versatile, right? So even if
Oh, good word.
yes, so
Yes.
even if one of the brands goes down, the others will still stay up.
Yeah.
and they could expand to other brands, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, they
So
go ahead.
I was just going to say, in my world, like when you said appraising, there are sometimes I have some guitars that I would really like to know what they're worth,
Yeah.
and I don't know that I thought, okay, well, if you could go to a company, they would appraise it. But aren't there going to be two appraisals? Their purchase appraisal and their sales appraisal of what it's worth, right? They're going to buy it cheaper than what they're going to sell it for.
Of
Otherwise, they're
course,
not going to make
yes,
it.
yes, yeah.
Right.
That's what their business for, right? By the
Right.
way, the Treasure Factory have I have to confess, I haven't been to their stores. I think because they're not in the city.
Yeah.
I told
Yeah.
you, right? It's like I think they have a store in the Fuchu and in Machida. They're not like Harajuku or
Yeah.
Shibuya. Yeah, but I think they're going to go to those the bigger cities. But I've seen some like a famous singer, and I'm not too familiar with Japanese, the celebrity scenes yet. But he was going through the store. You can see it on the YouTube, and then my God, this store sells everything. They
Yeah.
have a couch, they have a desk, they have like a cooking utensil, anything. I think you can just do all the shopping in one store.
Yeah.
So
Right.
anyway, yeah. So I've just thought about that because if you are looking for used guitar, Timothy, you know where to go.
No, I
Yeah.
was going to sell mine, and not necessarily sell it, but I have I have an old guitar. It's a Tokai, and it's either a 1979 or 1980 model, and it's a collector's item.
Oh, vintage. Mm.
Yeah, because it's when Tokai was making better Fenders. They were making Fender copies, but they were making it better than Fender. And Fender was going to sue them, and then they ended up doing a strategic partnership where Tokai made Fender guitars under their name, and it was still better quality. So I was just always curious, like, what's it worth? Yeah, but
Right. And
I
if
don't
I
know
can,
if I would ever sell it. There's sentimental value. But anyway, I don't want to sidetrack the
yeah.
discussion. I was just
No, but I
curious.
was also thinking, thank you, Tim, for that. I was also thinking that this is what basically nowadays many investors do. They diversify their portfolio, and it looks very much like, well, that business model looks like a portfolio to me in
Yeah.
financial world. And I also imagine, I may be mistaken, but I can imagine that the company is actually having so many brands because of course the market is growing, the industry is growing, and they want to ensure that as the industry goes forward and continues to grow, they will be present there and they'll have a larger market share within the
Yeah.
industry, reuse and discount. So, but of course, I'm not a professional there. It is just how things look to me at this point of time.
Right. But see, sometimes though, again, it's a balance, right? If you don't go into too many businesses, then you become like, it's like it becomes like an average.
Yeah,
Some
yeah, right.
industry A, maybe like a growing 10%, and the industry B maybe growing like a 20%. But then the industry, C maybe growing 2%, and they average it out, and then their earnings become sort of, mediocre. It's just becoming a GDP.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
so so it becoming like a country's growth. So it's, again, this company is still small enough so they can still, like, expand out to the different industry. But somehow I've noticed that they are really, expanding into the golf. Is golf
Yeah,
really
that's interesting.
popular these days?
It's interesting. Yes.
That is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But because to that point,
Hmm.
I also feel like there's a possibility they have all these possible industries they're getting into, right?
Yeah.
But part of it might be this is new. So we're experimenting. Let's see what works, and the stuff that sells well, we'll continue to expand it. And the stuff that doesn't work, maybe
Yeah.
we get rid
Yeah.
of it. But I don't know. Would that be a possible part
Yeah,
of their
they can
strategy?
do that, because consumers are very what's the word? Uh,
Fickle.
yeah, fickle. It's kind of hard to predict, right?
Yeah,
Because
right.
one day you are drinking like a what? What's the drinks with the? I don't hate that. I hate the drinks with the looking at those eyes looking at you. Kind of. What's the name of the drink?
Red Bull?
No, Red Bull doesn't have a waters at the the bottom.
Okay, I don't know. I don't drink it. But
Okay. Anyway. Okay. Anyway. Sorry. I'm dropping everything because I'm
I don't know what.
animated. But anyway, yeah. So one day, consumer love this one product, and the next day they just stop. Like,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's so yesterday.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's why. Anyway, and then this is actually the bonus data for you guys. I don't know. I'm calling it bonus, and yeah, who am I to say that? But anyway, see. Okay, so this is a sort of the data point. If you are ever going to invest, again, if okay, if you ever going to invest in a retail stock, this is a thing that you should look. It's a change, and they call it monthly sales of existing stores, but also they call it same store sales. Like, this is, they're just keeping track of the sales growth of stores which have been in existing for at least 12 months. So this way you can keep track, because company can fool you by buying so many stores, and then some stores may be very underperforming, and the company can disguise for a few years by doing so. But this data can tell you, yes, company knows where to open the store and how big of the size to one store should be, and then what kind of the product that a company is putting into that store. So this is a data point that you should look again if you are ever going to buy a retail store. I mean,
Right.
mm,
Yuka, just one question to you. Where can we find this data?
company's website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
they almost everybody does it.
Okay. So,
Or
but
like, yeah,
you
I don't. Go ahead.
oh, sorry, this is for listed companies. We are talking about listed companies because we cannot invest in private
Only.
companies.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I mean, like, if we're not venture capital people,
Yeah,
basically.
if you have
Right.
venture capital, the company will come with those data to you privately.
Right.
They
Okay.
share this information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, and then, like, so you have seen this, but so the way to look at this is the dotted line at the bottom is 100%. You want to see the numbers always 100%,
Mm-hmm.
higher
Yeah.
than above the 100%. And these numbers is always, it never goes, it's always going up and down because it's compared to the last year's number. And this year's number can be lower if the last year's number is high. It's just mathematical, right, thing. So, because it's called hard comparison. So when you look at this, the effective sales promotion campaign, this was, oops, I think this was October. Anyway, never mind. See, when you look at the 119%, and then when you look at this was 119% last, I think this was last October. So store sales actually up 19%. Just ignore this one, 19%. But then, so because of this number was so big, this year's comparison was tougher. Although 2024, I mean, this fiscal year. I'm sorry. Am I confusing everybody? But
No,
anyway,
no, I'm following.
I'm
okay,
following you too.
good. So this thicker blue line is a fiscal year end February 2024. By the way, this we always abbreviate this number. When you say FY, it's fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
And when you
Right.
say FYE is a fiscal year end, because the retail company fiscal year ends in February, and the many Japanese company fiscal year ends in March. But anyway, so like this number is really the people keen on looking at it. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to see your company go, their same store sales number dipping below 100,
Right.
meaning their growth is they're not growing.
Yeah. Right.
They're
Right. Right.
losing money. So each store's sales is not growing. So shoot,
Yes.
because I talk too fast, I think I'm finishing up my point.
No, I want to jump in and say you made me understand everything, and I'm an idiot when it comes to this stuff. So that means you did an excellent job so far.
Yeah, because this is your second time. That's why.
You
No,
were, you were better than the first time because Honban Nitsuyo. You're good at, like, once you get into the thick of things, you shine, man. You're doing it. You're killing it.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Yeah, and then this report has this valuation stuff, but I'm gonna skip it because and then also this is a bonus point too. Again, if you are looking to invest in anything, this is what you want to look at. Company give you a forecast. We call that guidance, and then a
yes.
lot of company do that. And then they, you want to make sure company knows how to forecast. That if they don't know how to forecast their own sales, who does? Right.
Yeah.
So let's say management said we are going to our sales is going to be so and so, and then because they usually give the annual sales goal or forecast, and then you go through first quarter, second quarter, and third quarter, and then some companies they meet and exceed their annual goal. You can tell because when they announce the first quarter sales number, and if the number is less than 25% of the annual goal, company is not doing too well. But sometimes on only one quarter, you may not too worry about that. And then you go through the second quarter, they still missed, their sales number was below 50%. Because 2 quarters, they have to reach. If they want to reach the annual goal, their 2 quarter sales number has to be 50% or thereabout.
Yeah.
So and when they miss the annual number, then stock tend to go lower. But that's the keyword, operative word. I love this word, operative. Operative word is sometimes markets doesn't move the way you anticipate because let's say I already know company is going to miss their guidance, so people start selling it. So when they announce the numbers officially, stock may not go down. The opposite may be true. You think the company is going to announce the humongously great number, and then, but if everybody else is anticipating the upside, people start buying toward those financial result announcement, and then boom, once the announcement is official, people start selling. So it's a very tricky business. So if you don't have much time to follow, like I am, if you like to check their website and the IR investor relations website, and then going through the data point about those like same store sales number, you probably should buy that index.
Right.
Anyway, I'm done here.
Okay. So when you say the index, does it mean index funds or?
Yeah, like index fund, like a Nikkei or like a topics. But everybody sort of has. Oh, I cannot see. Okay, I can see. Why I'm so always tilted. Anyway,
Right.
see
So
now, should I look at the clubhouse? Do they have questions? Well, they're just like, oh my gosh, you guys talking too fast.
No, I thought it was great so far.
Because
learned a
you
lot.
are in the same, platform.
No,
Well, yeah. Well, we don't have questions in Clubhouse yet, so I encourage everybody there. If you have questions to Yuka, please.
I
Is
kind of have
anybody there? Is anybody there in Clubhouse? I can
Yes,
see.
yes,
how
yeah.
many people?
We have 7 there at the moment.
Let me see that. Okay, I'm gonna. Yeah, let me. Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Uh,
can enjoy. You can enjoy my beautiful wall.
right.
Brick wall. That's so cool.
Oh,
Right.
That can't be digital, can it?
shoot!
Yeah.
Did you see what I was wearing? Never mind.
So, um,
I wanted also to, because when we talked during our uchiawase, you mentioned that there is something specific about the information that Japanese companies give you on their websites. And
Oh,
uh,
sorry.
yes,
You're echoing, huh?
that's
right.
why. Yeah. So turn off the sound. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go
Yes.
ahead. Hmm.
And you mentioned that. No, could you please log
Okay, I
out
can.
of
Yeah.
Clubhouse?
Okay. Sorry.
Yes. Okay. No, that's okay. So thank you. So you mentioned that quite often companies give you that information with the ear-on-ear information,
You mean
but
guidance?
the guidance, yes. Oh no, I also mean the revenues ear on ear, but not very many companies give you the 100% line.
You
Is that
mean
what you said?
whole? You mean whole profit in the whole income statement line? That's
Yes,
correct.
yes,
They
yes.
don't do that because they only do the main lines like the sales and the operating profits and the ordinary profits on net income. And some people, may not. Yeah, they sometimes sales only. Some people provide the gross profits if the company is like maybe manufacturing.
So
Yeah.
if you want to evaluate a Japanese company, can you work backwards to come up with the 100% so you can analyze it apples to apples, or do you have to just not analyze?
Oh, hi. Oh, yes. Oh, because we always do that. Like, you mean like, let's say sales size, everybody's different. Let's say, we talked about Don Quixote is 10 times bigger.
Right.
So you were saying because, one company has like a 10 million sales and another company has 100 million yen. How are you going to compare? You're saying.
Right.
But if
Yeah.
you sort of make it to the percentage, like operating profit margin,
Mhm.
then you
Yes.
can compare. Yeah, yes. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, well, just to make it apples to apples, you're just saying that 100% line isn't used in the way Japanese companies report. Did I understand that?
Oh, right. I'm sorry. You're talking about same store sales number.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Japanese companies, somehow they always say 110%, like 111%. And when they're missing the numbers, they call it 98%.
Okay.
If this is a US company, they
Yeah.
do when the same store sales number is higher than previous year, number
Mhm.
will be 14%, like 12%, which is actually excellent number, by the way. But then when the growth is lower than last year, they put the -2.
Mm.
Okay.
US company would do the -2%, meaning they're not growing. Their sales is decreasing.
Gotcha.
And then Japanese company would put this as 98%.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. I think 98% sounds better than -2.
so
Yeah, but it's still below the 100% line.
it's still, yeah, -2% versus 98%.
Right? Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's the glass is 98% full
Yeah.
instead of 2% empty.
And, you just have to sort of get used to it.
Okay, and then another question, which is a very basic question, Yuka. It's about the 100% line. So, what is basically what are the numbers of that 100% line? Because right, I mean, we can see that in the case of Treasure Factory, we have 2 years of growth above 100%. But then, what is the basis?
Those 2 years, the
What is
Yeah.
the 100%
So see,
line?
they're only comparing previous year number to this year number.
Mm-hmm.
so So
if,
the
okay, so
100% is last year's.
I know where you were coming from, Maya. I think it's they sometimes, like when you're growing year over year growth over like 10 years, then like so people like, okay, so the base year is like 100, let's say 90, right? So you are sort of resetting everything to 100 to certain
Yeah.
year, right?
Every year,
But
okay.
for this case, you're just simply comparing year 1 to year 2.
Yeah, okay.
And then
That makes sense.
yeah,
Growth.
and then just if the sales number hasn't changed, it's 100.
Right,
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 right.
right.
Okay.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
right.
exactly.
Because one, it's a one.
Hmm.
It's a one.
Yeah,
Also.
yeah.
Don't
It
take
would just reflect that you had zero growth. You didn't go down. You didn't
That's
go
right.
up. You
That's
just
right. That's
maintained
right.
last year's
Yeah.
sales.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that
And
makes
then,
sense.
the typical, this industry had suffered a lot during COVID. So,
Mhm.
and then a
Yeah.
lot of people, and then it's a very industry standard, just compared 2 years.
Yeah.
Some people think that the 3 years, but you don't want to. It's kind of, it doesn't reflect the reality if we go back further to include the COVID years, because nobody went to the stores.
Yeah, I
I mean,
guess so.
that wasn't their fault. That wasn't the management.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's out of their control.
That's right.
So
That's right.
here's kind of a culture question, Yuka.
Yeah, you asking me? Okay.
Yeah. Do you find that maybe American companies, on average, tend to be more optimistic about projections into the future than Japanese companies?
Good point. Actually, it's not the culture. The
Oh,
younger company is more aggressive.
oh, interesting.
Yeah,
That's
they say because they're not
yeah,
used to it.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
the older company get more established. Company they learn. It's called like under promise over deliver.
That's
Right.
exact. That's my point.
Yeah.
Because that's what I saw. I saw Japanese presidents who really thought the company was going to grow more, but they didn't want to set themselves up for failure, so they would set very conservative targets.
Mhm.
That's what I saw, but it wasn't in this world. It was in a different world. But
Yeah, but I guess like any world, because they like you just don't want to miss the the
you don't want to be embarrassed by like you said, over promising and then under delivering.
Yeah, and then the worst thing you want to see is the company cutting the dividends. That's it's gonna disappoint the management. I mean the investors.
Okay,
Right.
and
You rarely see that actually. You rarely.
yeah, that's so interesting. And now I don't live near Machida, but the place I used to live, Yamato, was just a couple stops away on the Odakyu line. And so sometimes we go there to visit. Now I want to go there. I know my wife will want to go there.
Please see, and they see
I'm going to go. I'm going to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that called channel check. Like retail analysts, they would do that. Like I used to do that when I used to cover like and like it's a such a side the side story, but I used to cover those U.S. like retail stocks. And then I went to the GameStop, I used video games, and then I go there, this like Obasan, the senior ladies, and going in, and everybody else is like teenager, the younger boys, and then they have this trial, like you can sort of play the computer games, and I was looking at those younger boys and, can I try that? And then they're polite, and then they said, yeah. Go lady, and then I couldn't play anything at all. They look like anyway, but that's like interesting. Yeah, and we call the channel check. You want to see what's really going on.
Yeah, you got to go to the Gemba. You got to go to the place.
Gemba. Yeah,
I mean, that I don't know if they allow it because a lot of companies don't. But if I go and I can do it, I might want to just go in and take some videos. That could be a future clip, maybe.
Yeah. They may think that you are industry spy.
Some companies encourage it, and some just don't want you doing it. So
I think supermarket with the food, I think they encourage it.
Yeah, I got told to stop once.
Really? Where?
Yeah, this is like 15 years ago. I went through the supermarket. It was like a 40-minute video. I just threw it up on YouTube and forgot about it. It's got like 150,000 hits or something. But they made me stop at the end. Yeah, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do it. So.
I mean, one time go ahead.
But maybe that was also before, the era of social media and so on, because basically the video is free advertising for the super.
Right. Yeah. That's what I would encourage it.
But I don't know, Tim, was that in Japan or was it in the
that was Japan.
Japan came up to this, conclusion quite late compared to other parts, stores in other parts of the world.
You mean those free publicity?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because and then maybe I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I was in Yokohama. This is before I lived here, before I came back, and I went to a blue jean shop, and it was just a blue jean shop. That's all. And I took some pictures, and they were so upset that I took pictures of their blue jeans. And I'm like, there's nothing different about these blue jeans. And I said, I'll put them up on social media and tell them to come here. They're like, no.
Oh, so you're promoting them?
I would have. Why wouldn't I? Unless it was horrible. There was nothing horrible. It was a nice shop. I was just curious at the prices and stuff because I was visiting here, right? Oh, speaking of which, you mentioned how high prices have gotten here. I feel like when I went, and Hawaii is not a good sample because it's more expensive than the mainland. But oh my God, I had a heart attack. I know I mentioned this before, but we went in and shopped for just almost nothing, and it was over $100. I'm like, what did we? A little bag of Doritos, which I did not buy, for the record, was $8. I mean, I'm talking about those tiny Dorito bags, right?
I'm glad that you didn't eat that.
I would never eat that, but I'm just curious about wow, these prices, who would pay this, So I feel like food prices, of course, not as high as Hawaii, but in the U.S., did you feel a difference when you came here and then went back and compared it to where you're at?
You mean compared to
inflation of prices of food?
Yeah, the food price, the way I used to remember, it's like, those one Fuji apple, and Fuji apple is just so delicious.
Oh yeah,
but it was like a 500 yen. So I went to the wrong store. It's a nice.
I don't pay that much. I buy 4 at a time of Fuji apples, and they're not that much.
You see, somehow to me the Fuji apple has to be big. Anyway.
They're not that big, but they're good. They're delicious.
They're delicious, right? They're delicious, right? Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And then the Kyoho, the grapes. Man, Kyoho deserve the name.
Strawberries.
Japanese strawberries. Have you? U.S. American strawberries suck, right? I mean, you have to put some cream in. Have you had the American U.S. strawberries, Maya?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
no.
Yeah, you haven't. You haven't lost anything.
Sour. I don't think they're sweet. They're not that
that's why they put that, the strawberries in the cake or something like that. But
I see.
Well, people thinking what they're talking about.
Yeah. Honestly, to me, because I have tried Bulgarian strawberries, we used to have a strawberry field back home, and when I came to Japan, I thought that the Japanese strawberries they lacked in sweetness and flavor.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
So
it's all relative.
Yes, now I have to go to Bulgaria then.
I gotta get Bulgarian strawberries.
Yes, because you think the Japanese are not sweet enough?
Wow. Yeah, that's what I think compared to the ones we used to grow at home. So I don't know how it is now because, I haven't had, even when I went back home last year, it was in August, so there were no strawberries anymore at that time of the year.
But strawberries also has to be bigger. It's not, that's my theory.
They have to be bigger. No, it depends. Yuka, it depends because sometimes the smaller ones, it depends on the kind of strawberry actually. But sometimes the smaller ones, they are not that sweet, but they, make up for that reduced sweetness in flavor, and that flavor is just out of this world. The strawberry flavor, it's amazing. So, and that's the ones you use for jam, and cooking and so on. But anyway, I don't want to.
We went way off the path.
Yeah, I know. As we
tend to do in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
One
so I think
there is something, if you don't mind me saying, so there is a disclaimer to this session that basically we haven't been hired by Treasure Factory and we're
no,
not.
okay,
Right.
right. Yes.
Sadly, we have no
They
sponsors.
exist.
So we have no sponsors at this point of time, and not for this session either. So this is just the discoveries, the findings of Yuka as a financial analyst. And once again, this is
We
not.
forbid you from
buy-
buying stock. Is that clear enough?
Yeah.
No, my question, Yuka, to you is why did you forbid me? Forbid me for
I didn't forbid.
buying the stock.
Yeah, like see, sometimes like what did I say yesterday? Because every stock has a oops, you guys disappear.
That's okay. You are on screen.
Oh,
Go
anyway,
ahead.
okay, so everything has a right time. And this
Okay.
stock, I started talking about this stock last January. And then back then, this theme of reuse, discount was, getting more recognition.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, sometimes it may be too late. I'm
Yeah.
talking about this. So, yeah. And then somehow, I think somebody else told me that too. It goes, okay, yeah, I don't know why, but stock tend to go down as soon as I buy it. Like that, those things happen. So
You don't want to be blamed, right?
Huh?
To tell you
No,
you
no.
can't legally tell somebody, right?
no, that's why I usually don't talk about a name either.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
usually recommend, if you think the market would go up, and which I don't know, because Nikkei is what, 34-year high? I mean, it's from here, they probably maybe range bound. They need a little bit of more oomph to go higher. So what else can we see? Like I said, something has to happen. Then market needs some like a trigger event, like a driver. So we have to look for it. So this may not be a good time.
Right,
Do
but when
you see a demographic preference for reuse? Like,
Oh,
in other words, are younger people more into the environment and therefore reusing, or do you see this with the elderly population as well?
I mean, I
Yes.
think it's, that I haven't really seen, write up regarding to that, but I think it can, this may be the good, this company appealing to both like all the generations.
Yeah.
Because like
Okay.
older folks, they may have more goods that they want to sell. At the same time, they may be more, budget oriented. So they may prefer to buy something used. And then the younger generation, like you said, they're more environmental conscious. So they may say, hey, choose to buy something used, and or maybe the brand name said, I cannot afford to buy that brand new. So so I think it can appeal to all the generation,
Yeah.
all gender.
Yeah. The elderly might be less concerned about the environment, more concerned about buying something at lower prices that's still good quality, while the youngsters might have a heavier bias toward the environment, but they're still the same drivers, maybe
Yeah,
different percent. So it's just interesting. Yeah,
that's an interesting
I
point.
see Japanese do it too. Elderly, even people my age, we're elderly, I guess, but they like going to those shops. They like.
Yeah, like like you said, like one of the kind. Sometimes like maybe like a company might have stopped carrying a product, discontinued, and then but maybe like a vintage item like your guitar, and some people may be looking for it, and then they go and find it. So that joy, I think Don Quixote does that too, like a treasure
Yeah.
hunt appeal.
Yeah.
Yuka, just a moment, because we got a comment in Clubhouse from Conrad Chan, and he wrote there, the way to present a change in performance is fine. Somehow, I'm more concerned about the disclosure made in Japanese entities reports compared with their US counterparts. And for sure, adjustments have to be made to unify the accounting standards adopted.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts about this?
I think it's just like this is that's one of the those Tokyo Stock Exchange initiatives. Of course, those big Nikkei 225 company, they all have the publication in English, and then they use probably the internationally accepted accounting standard. So I don't think too many Japanese, use the U.S. standard. But and then yes, Japanese, smaller company, the startups, they are still using the Japanese accounting.
Right.
And okay, but yeah, I will tell you though, the Japanese, the accounting more conservative, because Japanese company more conserving the cash, and they put a lot of reserve, which lowers their net profits. So not necessarily like Japanese accounting standards are bad, or it's just a different way to account all the lines. And then Tokyo Stock Exchange, like I said, last March, they announced those, it's a truth. And those Tokyo Stock Exchange, there are many zombie companies are still listed. So that was one of the reasons foreign investors, have shied away from Japanese stock market now. But then, Tokyo Stock Exchange hit, enough is enough. You have to raise your return on equity and then price to book ratio, so that you have to show you care about your investors, you care about your return. So, and then one of the also the announcement is, they're asking them to increase the English publication, but that costs money. And especially when those smaller companies, they still don't have enough money. They're so focusing on running their operations, and so but those changes can be very gradual. But I think things are happening.
Yeah.
But if that's again, if you can read Japanese, that can be your differentiation. If you can read the Japanese accounting, maybe you can beat the other investors.
Yeah.
Any
Yeah.
inconvenience can be,
An
like you
edge.
said, and one's trash can be others' treasure.
True. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree with you, and I can see the reasons why there is mistrust to to some, or to the Japanese market, and some well, how the Japanese companies report and so on, because of we have had some examples. We cannot actually deny that they were there, but at the same time, as you said, Yuka, the Japanese companies reporting is more conservative, and the few
In
bad apples
general, yeah.
in general, yes. So basically, I agree with you. We often, and I often see it, people who want to come invest in Japan, or want to come and live here and work here, they complain because of the lack of English language resources,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I wonder though, is it just Japan that lacks these resources in English, or maybe other markets lack them too? Like, at the end of the day, thinking about the national language, the official language of the country, it is still Japanese,
Mm-hmm.
and the official language of education is still Japanese. I think that this is not really such a strange thing, that those resources in English are not that many yet. I don't know. It's maybe I'm too accommodating, of Japan's slow adoption to international standards. Who knows, really? But
I think that's a very good point, because in Korea, because it just in Japanese market is more, and I think it's people more complain because Japan is considered to be a like a developed, mature economy, but then the stock market is still like acting like like a young stock exchange.
mhm,
So, and but then yeah, so maybe that's the gap that the people maybe finds that's kind of frustrating, and
mhm.
then and also the stock, I forgot the names, I mean numbers, but Japanese listed company are close to 4,000. There's so many of them. And then
Oh,
like sometimes like in December 30-40 companies go public, their IPO, so the numbers are increasing. So it's the numbers are rising, but then compared to Japanese stock exchange, Korean, I think, it's far less numbers. So, and the big one is like the Hyundai, and then like a Samsung. I think they could be like a 20-30% of the whole exchange, and they're big enough that they can satisfy those foreign investors' desire and the needs. So, so yes, they gave the Japanese company a little, the benefit of the doubt, but they have to, lack of, governance, and then, the governance reform is also, I think they've been, pushed hard enough. It's slowly happening.
Right. Yes, it is
Oh, we
happening.
can
And
talk about corporate governance, but yeah, because we were not focused.
Governance is another important issue. Yeah.
yes, I would love to talk about it. Oh, yes, governance in another session, actually, because
Yeah,
it's very important. Yes.
yeah. No, please
Yeah.
invite somebody else, okay? Because I'm not pro at that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to. And I'm sure that I see that, LinkedIn, there's so many people discussing. And I
Yeah.
see some comments, hey, it's finally improving. Do you see the comments?
Yes, I see some comments that it's finally improving, and I see still, people who are very unhappy with the pace of improvement. And yeah, I know it's really like, if you know Japan, maybe this slow. Once again, I like, I have come up with a metaphor, a comparison. So if you have two cars and one of them is moving at 20 kilometers per hour and the other one is moving at 80 kilometers per hour, when they crash, the damage, to the 20 kilometers per hour will be way, way, way smaller. And this is Japan, right? Japan is moving at the speed of 20 kilometers per hour. And so I think that even, when the 2008 financial crisis happened, because Japan was so slow in everything, actually the damage it sustained was ways smaller than the damage, in other parts of the world. So we have to appreciate the trade-offs here. And there is always something that is positive and something that is
Yeah,
negative.
right. Those are pros and cons and everything, I guess.
There's always the slow and steady.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
know,
steady
the
April,
tortoise. You
yes.
know, the tortoise winning the race. Sometimes you don't win,
Ah,
but
you know,
But yes, sometimes you do. And how you adjust as a foreign investor, I think that if you know how the market works here and how slow it is and so on, you can really take advantage of quite a few things.
yeah,
something
and
that you can take advantage. Again, if you know a little bit, I think it can make a difference.
yeah,
Yes, yes, indeed.
By the way, this is how people who get asked question by me feels, huh? Like today, nobody asking question because I am talking. So
no, again, I really enjoyed it.
thank you,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you did a good job. Really
thank
good
you.
job. Thank you.
a great job, Yuka. Thanks so very much
All
for
right.
being our guest speaker today and for taking us through the ins and outs of the financial reports of
Yeah,
the Teacher Factory. And I'm personally very much looking forward to having you again here. Um,
Okay,
and always having you on stage with us, we always
thank you.
appreciate that too.
Appreciate that.
that very much too.
And your friendship. I
Right.
appreciate your friendship. I've
Yes,
really enjoyed,
Okay.
yes.
getting to know
Thanks
you.
so much
Thank
for
you. Thank you for everyone. I cannot tell who's there, but thank you.
Thank you,
well,
everyone. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Me too.
yes, I hope so too. And that's all. We'll be here once again at 8:20 on Sunday and next week at 8 o'clock on Wednesday morning. So please be with us and stay safe, because I think that there is now a flu epidemic
I
in Turkey.
know. Yeah.
Oh,
You
okay.
Please,
hear. Yeah.
yes, keep safe.
Keep
And that's
safe.
all for today. Yes. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I love the title.
Yeah. We're
It's
off
a
We're off.
yeah.
Okay.
Nope.
Thank you. Jesus. Yeah.